We're here with Diesel. We're just carrying on with his proofing around distractions. So we've upped the ante today and we're going to be walking him in a bit of a busier area around some distractions. Seeing how he goes, keeping the muzzle on just for everybody's safety and for his safety as well. Just walking him with an e-collar today. Going to see how he goes. We want to see how he's responding to walking around people and dogs, noises and everything like that. Yeah. Yeah. So Diesel's just a little bit uncertain, let's go, of what's going on through there. Looks like a bit of construction maybe, some loud banging noises. So what we're going to do is we're just going to put him in a down. Just don't want him doing all of this sniffing the ground. We're going to snap him out of that down. You can see his body's quite low, uncertain, ears back, tail down. Just a bit unsure in a new environment. So that's why we're doing this environmental training, because we just want to rebuild his association with pretty much everything that's going on. We're just going to keep his focus. Good boy. Oi. Not going to let him get distracted with all the little smells and stuff like that. He's getting a little bit more comfortable. Down. Oi. Oi. Good. Oi. Good. So I'm not going to let him get kind of carried away with all of the grass eating. Oi. I'm not going to let him avoid the pressure of the environment. I just want him to sit here and just kind of take it all in. What I'm doing is I'm giving him a positive experience around things that he's uncertain of. And in doing so, rebuilding his association with all of these things. All right, we can move on. Let's go. Let's go. Yeah. So I'm just watching Diesel and I'm just looking for his triggers. Dogs will react to things like scent, sight, or sound. I'm just keeping an ear and an eye out for anything that might be triggering to him. Also, just reading his body language, give me an idea of where he's at in his head. So I want him sniffing. Right now his nose is going, he's sniffing, he's kind of looking around. That's all good stuff. I want him to be taking in information about everything that's going on around us. If he starts sniffing the ground though, and I can see that his energy's lifting and he's escalating, I'm going to stop him there, because I don't want him tracking, I don't want him hunting or anything like that. If he starts scanning, which is, you know, his head will drop, he's doing it right now, and he'll start scanning left to right, then I want to stop that, because that's a predatory thing, and so I don't want him kicking into that predatory drive while we're out walking around a town like this. So I'm just going to correct that behavior. Good boy. I'm going to reward him for looking at me. We call it checking in, and so every time he looks at me I'm going to mark that behavior with a good boy, just to let him know that he's doing the right thing. When he looks at me, he's looking for information, and so I just want to praise that, because that's a really good behavior, and that's ultimately what I want him doing. I want him looking to me for information, for decision making, so that he's not having to make the decisions himself. Every so often I'm just going to change my pace just to check where he's at, so I don't just want him going into drone mode where he's just kind of on autopilot, just going through the paces. I want him actually focused here on what's going on, so my pace, what am I doing, and what's going on around us as well. So I'm walking with a loose lead. I'm using the e-collar to control him, but I do have it short enough that, well, if anything was to happen, I've still got that full control. I'm giving him, you know, enough freedom where he can make decisions, but at the same time being safe and having that control. He's not reacting at anything that he's really seeing or hearing or smelling. He's a bit inquisitive, like his nose is going 100 miles an hour, he's sniffing, he's looking around, which I'm fine with, because it's all just information gathering. He's not fixating or getting super stuck on anything. This is all good stuff, making good progress. So we're just desensitizing him to pretty much everything that's going on, giving him lots of guidance, lots of direction, pretty much only correcting him for big reactions. So just for these little fixations, and also going for that pigeon there, let's go. Good boy. I'm just giving him little low-level taps on the collar, just enough to snap him out of it. Let's go. Let's go. Good boy. Always remembering to reward him for what he is doing right, which is the focus, keeping that position. So he's softening up as well. You can see his mouth's opening, his face is softening up, so that's a really good sign. Working him around these more foreign kind of distractions. Let's go. Good boy. So I'm pretty much just going to keep him in position. Let's go. Just keep him from committing too much to anything else. It's alright to have a look and a sniff, but if he starts kind of walking towards something and I'm going the other way, I'm going to give him a little correction. Let's go. Just like there. Just to keep him in tune. Do a little downstay, just so everything can sort of sink in. I want him just to be conscious of my space. Oi. Also, I'm going to correct him for that. I'm going to give him guidance using the lead and just corrections on the e-collar. Oi. 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 These are just boundaries that your dog needs to know. They're not allowed up where you're allowed, and also they need to be respectful of your space. They can't just be moving right into your space. So this is good. Down. Down. Good boy. So when a dog's uncertain, they're going to be less likely to want to lie down in that environment, so you just got to work them through those little things. It's always good to know like the position of where the dog is when they're in a down as well. So say for example he's lying down in front of me across my front, he could be guarding me, so I don't want him somewhere like that where he's inclined to guard me, because then that's going to mean, you know, when something walks past that triggers him, he's more likely to protect me and react towards that thing, whether it's a person or a dog or whatever it is. And so I'm just letting him lay here, taking in everything that we've just seen on the move. And now he's just absorbing all the information and just sitting here around all the stimuli while he's in the down, just staying still. Good boy. So what I can see here is he's got a nice soft face. His body's, you know, not rigid. He's just kind of relaxed, his hips shifted over. He's still back a bit, tail's soft, nose going hard, so that's always good. Just taking in heaps of information. And pretty much we're just giving him a positive experience around all of these things. It hasn't been a lot of correcting or anything like that. It's been more guidance and direction, letting him get used to all of the stimuli and what he's going to be surrounded by when he does get home, back to his family, and they're taking him out and about on a walk. It's really important that these dogs get this environmental exposure while they're young. So right now I'm just letting him look. He's a bit uncertain of, I think, those car doors, the sound of those car doors, and he's kind of looking over there. It's just inquisitive though. If I see, oi, like right there, he started leaning into it, and so I gave him a verbal correction. I just said oi, and that was enough to snap him out of it. If he wasn't to snap out of it, then I would follow through with the correction on the e-collar, but I didn't need to. There's another car door, and so he's doing the same thing again. He's just looking, but he's softening up by himself. Like you can see, he's looking. Oi. So he was softening up by himself. That look right there, I corrected him for that because his movement was a lot sharper, and he started to put his head down and stuff. He started to show me intent, and so that intent was what I was correcting. But whenever he shows me intent, any type of intent, whether it's predatory or defensive or whatever it might be, I'm going to be correcting that behavior. And so I mean, like, a downstay is just really good for getting a dog calm around stimuli and just rebuilding their associations. It always goes well with a leash walk. It can never be too long. I mean, if I was to stay here for hours, he'd probably fall asleep, and that's not bad. But this has definitely gone well. I mean, you can see he's calm, he's relaxed, he's not reacting, which is always good. Down. Down. Good. So I just put him back in the down because I didn't release him from his command. The stay is always implied. When he's given a command like sit or down, it means sit and stay or down and stay. Let's go. You can see after a down the energy drops a lot because energy is really nice and low right now, and he's nice and calm. And a dog who's calm is less likely to have such a big reaction. If he was peaking right now and his energy was really high, when it comes to him coming across the trigger, he's going to have quite a gnarly reaction. So we just mediate that by keeping his energy nice and balanced. If I see that he's dropping behind a lot, I'll just give him a bit of guidance in the here command. Here. Good boy. So affection's always a big part of owning a dog, and there's always a right time and a wrong time to give affection. Affection's a really big reward. So if you're giving affection at the right time, it can be really beneficial. Saying that, if you give it at the wrong time, it can be counterproductive because it's just going to increase whatever behavior the dog is doing at the time. Started to come forward and kind of poke his head around my front here. So I won't let him do stuff like that because it's always going to lead to a reaction here. So I just want to keep that control. Oi. So when he shows intent like that, that's what I'm going to correct him for. Oi. So he's allowed to look at the other dog, he's just not allowed to show intent. Here. Down. Oi. Good. So just again with the down, working him through that stubbornness. Just before we chuck him in the car and we cruise back. It's been a good walk. He's, you know, been faced with a lot of pressure and different distractions, so I'm just going to let him chill out. Oi. So I know that we're leaving the walk on a nice calm note. Oi. Down. Good. So, I mean, he just broke command there, so I corrected him for that. Then he turned his back on me, I corrected him for that as well. And now I've just waited till he's come back facing towards me. He's not guarding me right there. If he was to be a bit closer, you know, his body posture was a little bit different than I would call that guarding. This is fine. He's nice and soft, just kind of lying over there, which I'm happy with. Let's have him in a down for a few minutes so he's nice and calm, and then can finish this walk on a good note. And then we'll shoot back, chuck him in his kennel, give him some dinner, and then yeah, that's him for the day.